Probably Tacticus, as far as the early historians. I mean, Mark's Gospel, like I say, 65 AD. There is, of course, it's the Holy Spirit who brings us to remembrance. This is being demonstrated, of course, right now in my incarnation. I am the incarnate God that forgets and remembers, of course, and to demonstrate the power of the Holy Spirit in bringing back to remembrance, important things which we need to document for future generations, such as the fact that, in 2019 at 3 o'clock in the morning, a helicopter flew in a very isolated location. I knew when I was lying in bed, oh dear, here we go again. It's coming for me. I know no one's going to believe me. And, I'm one of these crazy people that think black helicopters are flying above me. I used to, cringe at those people myself. But as it turns out, it really did happen. At 3 o'clock in the morning, a helicopter flies right over the top of the front of my 24-foot plastic boat. And, at about 10 miles an hour, tree height. And suddenly I can hear all this metallic fragments falling on my fiberglass above me, about 2 inches above me. And I think to myself, what on earth could that be? Okay, it's a military helicopter. I can tell by the sound of it. It's dropped something on me. I haven't made any YouTube videos recently. Have they misunderstood me? Do they think I'm quite a nice guy? What's going on here? No idea, of course, that they already knew that I was Jesus, and they've known since at least 2016, where the Catholic Church told my mother and Kieran, who's gone into some sort of mental can't cope with the situation mode, pretend it's not happening. Neville knows it happened, like I say, because I was sitting in front of the TV when Chernobyl exploded in 1986, and he said, "Did you predict that?" And I said, "Nothing." And he said, "Is somebody telling you to say nothing, not to tell me?" And again, I said nothing. And he kept on trying until he eventually said, "Oh, this is ridiculous," and walked off. Because he thought it was ridiculous that he couldn't get a answer from a child. From a child, right? I was a child. You're supposed to ask me for the answer now, Neville. Now. That's why I was silent then. The Holy Spirit was not making me reply to you because I couldn't have gave you, an answer you would have understood at that time. In fact, it was only a year ago, just less than a year ago, that the same angels, that's the Holy Spirit, came back and told me that the reason you prophesied Chernobyl was a warning against nuclear proliferation 40 years ago, that they were supposed to deliver to the political class of the world to stop them increasing and expanding nuclear power, because we knew, as we know the future, we know the end from the beginning, we're outside of time and space. We know that in less than 2 years' time, there's an event that happens, fully expected, a magnetic polar shift. We've had 188 before and survived them all, according to NASA. But this time, the human race is extinct because we've got 440 nuclear reactors that all melt down simultaneously, causing the extinction of all life on Earth. And I've just been brought into remembrance of that. I've been told it's my responsibility to act. You might think I sound like a crazy person, but really, incredibly, unlikely things do happen. So if you always call unlikely things that do happen, some bloke who's gone mad, or some mental illness, or some narcosis problem, or some, trick, or some commercial, obviously are really commercially successful. This is scared the hell out of everyone. Everyone's gone apart from men, because men are cowards. There's a few women that are still, brave enough to hear these messages. Like I say, unlikely things happen, and what you've been taught, especially the Middletons now I'm talking to, you've been taught to disrespect me, and you've misunderstood me lowering myself amongst you to try and get on with you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have, because my brother so poisoned the well beforehand that you'd have just thought I was an arrogant prick if I hadn't done that. So I did that. So I lowered myself. I did all these things. Self-sacrifice it is. If you can't recognise that in others, and you just see it as weakness, as men do, and some women who are deceived by men, and some little girls, young women, I should say, who are deceived by men, they also see it that way because they've been brainwashed to by the men, by their ego, right? The ego is Satan, and that means you're being controlled by Satan. If you're controlled by my brother and his narrative, you are controlled by Satan, okay? And I am here to destroy Satan and the works of Satan. Okay, so Tacticus. I'm not convinced by. I'm not actually convinced by. by Josephus. So Josephus, Flavius Josephus, I mean, it sounds a bit contrived to me, but so anyway, Tacticus, well, yeah, serious historian here, and like I say, the only one that actually reads like, it's the, you know, it's a point of history. It really did happen that there was a movement highly motivated, the followers of the way, that's my people, and got witnessing gifts, which you'll see certainly in Africa. You'll see in Africa when I go there, but witnessing gifts and miracles and all these things, that makes the initial not religion, spiritual movement expand super fast. Okay, so it expanded super fast, so fast that it scared the powers that be. Yeah, same thing as always. In that case, the Roman authorities here, who therefore needed to, escape, because like they're scared of the Muslims taking over. So much that they keep faking all these events and blaming them on the Muslims. They made the Christians here the scapegoats. And they really did. Nero, that's the kind of thing politicians do. They're doing it now. They're doing it then. They're doing it now. It's the same thing. And, they set them up. And it's recorded here by Tacitus. So Tacitus says, describing the news, scapegoating of the Christians following the fire of Rome, he writes that the founder of the sect was named Christus, the Christian title for Jesus, and that he was executed under Pontius Pilate, and that the movement initially checked, broke out again in Judea, and even in Rome itself. The scholarly consensus is that Tacitus' reference to the execution of Jesus by Pilate is both authentic and of historical value as an independent Roman source. Okay, so that is not disputed as fakery. So if it's not fakery, it really happened. Yeah, and here I am again.